Well, here we are in QuickBooks. We want to set up some earnings or income accounts, and it's basically the same process as we have for our other assets and liability accounts and our expense accounts we set up last week. We're going to just go to our accounting right here off of our dashboard, and then we're going to click up on the green button up here so that we can put in an income account. And actually, what I'd like you to do for this one, we know it's going to be an income account, but since we're going to actually put your paychecks in here, this could be your work study, your day work. You may have several part-time jobs that you could put in under other income, okay? And that's the way you would put this one in here. And then you want to actually put in there a name. And I want to keep track of all my paychecks all in one major accounts. So I'm going to call it paychecks, and I'm going to make that a major account. All right. So then I'm going to put some sub accounts to that, maybe a couple of them. You put what I have to choose other income. I have to choose the same detail, other miscellaneous, and I'm going to call it work study. Okay, that's going to be a sub account. Actually, I can just start typing my major account's name, and then I can choose it and save it. How about that? Let's put one more in there. New account. It's an other income, and it's going to be day work. Okay, sub account to paychecks. Alright, there we go. You see that work study was in there. If you're watching closely, it's a sub account to my paychecks. Okay, so there we've got two. Let's set up a livestock sales account. Okay, so here we go. We want a new sales account. It's going to be an income account, and it's going to be livestock. Now, if you're just in the cattle business, maybe we'll just call it cattle sales for the major account. Okay, it's going to be a major account. Don't worry about that right there. Detail type, we better take a look and see what we need there. Okay, discount, refunds, non-profit, other primary income, sale of product income. I would say other primary income would be a good selection there. The name of it would be cattle sales. Okay, there we go. Now let's put a sub account to that, and we're going to keep it fairly simple. We're going to choose income, and we're going to use other primary income, and we're going to put sale of calves. Okay, so description, all weaned calves. Sub account would be cattle. There we go, and we save it. All right, now we've accomplished that. Let's go ahead and show you how you would actually enter and use those accounts. Let's use those accounts. Let's say that we sold a load of cattle or some calves in the fall of the year. Well, first of all, let's get paid. So we'll do that one first. Okay, we want to come here to the sales. Okay, and then we want to go to all sales. It actually went there by default, but you might have to force it to go there. And then what kind of transaction? Did we just get the check? Probably. That's the way that usually works. So we're not going to use an invoice. That actually is used together with an accounts receivable. Okay? And that's where we would make a sale, and then we would bill somebody with an invoice. Okay, if that makes sense. And we can do a few more things here. We can receive payments on an invoice. But a sales receipt is just like you just got it. You just made the sale. I know you've been working through the month or the week or the day if you're doing day work. So at the end of the day, they hand you a check or they hand you some cash, however that works. So we want to actually go to a sales receipt. All right, so if you're a work-study student at Casper College, your customer is going to be Casper College, right here, okay? The nice thing about all this is, and it can mess things up if you don't know what you're doing, but again, we're here to learn, is that you can do everything on the fly that you want to, all right? So I can add a customer that it will actually keep in its memory. So I don't have to enter it again. I can just start typing Casper College after this. I just say yes, add Casper College. I can do the full detail here. We're not going to do that right now. So I'm going to actually put Casper College here and save it. Okay, I can put the address, email, phone numbers, contacts, all that kind of stuff that's important when you're in business, but may not mean that much to you at this point, especially if it is an actual work study type of a thing. Payment method. Okay, you receive, generally, Casper College does this in a check, okay? Or it could come in the form, well, it could be a direct deposit too. But if they do issue you a check, we'll just say it's check 1,000. And this is an important part of this here, where it's deposited to, okay? Your system already has an undeposited funds. If they hand you a check, it's not deposited yet. And that's where it goes, all right? It's just a place for the accounting system to say, okay, something needs to be done with this, and generally the next step is to deposit into your checking account. If it's a direct deposit, then we could actually choose checking and go directly with it that way. Okay, so that's how you would handle that. So we're going to actually here put this as work study. And an interesting thing, when we're setting this up, we're actually, we need to actually set up another list of different things as far as things that we receive income from. All right, and they're tied to an account in your accounting system, that chart of accounts. So we're going to add work study at this point. And it's going to say, is this inventory? Well, it's my earnings. I just worked for it. Is it a non-inventory? Is it an inventory? Is it a service that you provide to customers? For example, landscaping or tax preparation, products you buy and or sell, but don't need to, you can just read that sort of thing. I'm just going to use it as a non-inventory work study category. I'm going to choose a category, and I'm going to have it go into, no, wait a minute here, my income account. Okay, I want it, this is, keep it simple, work study sub account. There we go. We want to change this income. Some of these other things will be applicable in other areas, but for this sort of thing, just want to set it up this way. If it is a inventory item, we could actually set the price for it at this point too. Sales tax, no. Does it let us take that non-taxable? We don't want that. I'll purchase this product from a vendor. Don't worry about that. And then we save it. Okay. Now, okay, this is just your paycheck. Okay, maybe with taxes taken out, it's let's just say 105.87. Okay, quantity. Oh, we need to. It's just one, and the rate is 105.87 there. No tax. All right, we can do more than one item on this actual sales receipt, but you can see that everything is set up here. You can set this thing up for sales tax. As you can see, the balance amount received was 105.87. Okay, save. Okay, and it gives it an actual number for that one. So that's how you would. So let's set up, actually bring some income in from the sale of livestock that we already set up. It'll be very similar for crops. And I know that some of you actually have those sort of things that in here. We're going to go again up to sales, all sales. If you receive the check, it's in hand. You're going to come over here to new transaction. You're going to come down to sales receipt. Okay, customer. I'm just going to use a name there. We're going to save it. We can fill out all that stuff. The date's important. I didn't cover that too much, but that would be the day that you receive it. Payment method, again, it might be check. QuickBooks actually has a pretty handy deal where you can set it up to receive a credit card or a debit card. But if you deal in mostly checks, that's how I'm going to do it there. Let's just say that we have that one deposited directly into checking right there. We don't have a reference number that we have until we check our bank statement. Okay, so we're going to actually sell some calves. All right, calves. All right, I'm just going to call it calves. Now, it doesn't know what calves are yet as on the item list that's associated with the account, the income account. So it's going to want us to set that up again. Now, if you bought some calves for resale, then you would put them into inventory and then sell them at inventory. But in fact, since we raised them, they would actually be a non-inventory. And I want to keep this as simple as possible. Okay, the income account is going to be calves. It'd be cattle sales with a sub-account of sale of calves. Okay. I don't know how that happened, but let's go back to that and just use that account. Save it. A couple things have to happen at this point. We're going to have to save that sales invoice or sales receipt. Okay, is it asking us? Okay, oh, I hit the wrong save. Those kind of things happen to me all the time. All right, now we can print this out for that customer if we wanted to, and I would encourage you to do that. Start acting like a business. And we cover this in my management classes. I interact with people sometimes and they say, well, you know, I do some work for some friends and I never get paid, and then they forget about it and that sort of thing. Sometimes it's us, that we actually don't act like a business. And the they don't expect to pay for it. But if you ask them, which a really nice way to ask them is just to do the work, maybe give them an estimate up front, and then when you get done with the work, when they're loading it up in your pickup, if it's a welding project, or you just give them an invoice or a an invoice or sales receipt. Sales receipt if you receive it right there, of course. Okay, so let's jump out of the sales receipt here, and the next thing that we're going to have to do is actually, as I told you, when we made that sale, it should go right into our checking account. Let's go check just to make sure into our chart of accounts. Here's our checking account, and we can just double click that, and it should show us Bill Farmer. Oh, we didn't put anything in there, did we? Well, that's all right. We'll just go back to sales, and here's old Bill Farmer right here. Let's double click on that. It's got 1 at a rate of 0. Oh boy. Well, maybe we sold 2 calves at $500 a piece, so it's 2 here, 500, and it should come up with $1,000, and we're good. So we better resave that. Better reprint it too if you're going to do that for that particular person, or you can send it by email if you've got Bill's email. Kind of handy that way. Okay, so let's go back to our accounting just to check that. Our chart of accounts, our checking, and we can see that we had 1,080. Okay, I'm just going back there. I'm going to edit it. Oh, I see what it did. It actually added the sales tax on there. I don't know if we can, probably want to do that. I just took that off. See how I did that? If you run into that, if it's defaulted to taxing in California, okay, we'll set up sales tax later if we end up doing that, or if you feel like you want to do it for Wyoming. Ag products actually in Wyoming are not taxable, so you don't have to worry about it. You wouldn't want to have set it up so that it is. Okay, so anyway, there we got it. We've got it saved. Let's just go back to there. Bill Farmer, it changed it to $1,000. Whew, man, we got out of that in good shape. There's one last thing. Now, we had our earnings, and we're going to go to the bank. And actually, this plus key, it actually means create. Okay, so I'm going to go to create. And here's a bank deposit. Okay. Now, this is the test drive, so it's got a couple of things in here right here, right? But we got this one for Casper College, and maybe we didn't get down to the bank till the next day, and we put in on October 16th. Okay, everything looks good. Reference number, it's 105. We only have that one that we want to deposit, and it should go right into checking. This is one thing you got to check. We could put it into savings or any of these other ones that make sense, but it's going to go right into, we want to save and new there. Now let's go back and check our chart of accounts again to make sure it went into our checking. There we go. Alright, now if I run a report from there, because I'm probably going to ask you for one of those things, let's look at our income statement. Okay, now this is where year to date Actually, I wanted to go, it should, since we got the check on the 15th, it should take those things into consideration. Now, this is the test drive again, so keep that in mind. Let's see here. Total cost of goods. Where's our paycheck? Cattle sales, sale of calves. We got 1,000 in there. Not sure why it didn't have the paycheck in there. Could I change this date? Will it make a difference? Run report. Don't think that should. Well, that's one thing to just kind of dig into and see why it didn't work. You're going to have a whole lot less complicated of an income statement, and that's what I want you to actually give me, is your income statement. Now, I want you to bring in any income you would have had in the month that you used and inputted your expenses for. So some of you, most of you, have encouraged you to do it for August. Some of you said, well, I didn't have any of that information, but I have it for September. And I've worked with you that way. So anyway, that's what I would like you to do, is turn in an income statement for the month that you already put your expenses in for. Okay? Makes sense? Doesn't make any sense? Give me a holler.